But right now, that boat is still stranded. News 3's Greg Goldberg joins us now live from the Atlantic Ocean overlooking that vessel. Greg?
That's right. The Escapade has been stranded for 17 hours now. If you take a close look, you can see it in plain sight that it actually ran aground there at 1 o'clock this morning. It's moved very little, if at all, ever since. Well, rescue crews have been hard at work all day trying to free this vessel, but obviously it hasn't worked.
Well, this afternoon, a Coast Guard helicopter flew over and hoisted 4 of the passengers off the stranded ship. Well, all the remaining 114 passengers and crew members were ferried back to shore. So again, that ship still remains beached on a sandbar right now, waiting for crews to come salvage it as soon as possible. Also out on the water tonight is Ian Margold. He joins us from a boat just beyond the stranded vessel. And tell us, Ian, what are you seeing right now out there?
Well, Russ, it is, like you said, still stranded out here, just about a half a mile behind us. You can sort of see the lights out there. We can't get much closer because we are only in 13 feet of water and definitely don't want to end up stranded just like them. The plan is in just a couple of hours at high tide, salvage crews will once again begin working to free it and get back to land. The good news, though, just about 4 o'clock today, all of those passengers did make it back to land, and I was at Coast Guard Tybee Station when they finally made it back.
Come on!
Reunited at last.
After being stranded at sea for about 36 hours, the Escapade broke itself free today at about 12:45, using nothing but the power of its own engines and taking advantage of the midday high tide. The Escapade needed no help Thursday. Interesting, when just 24 hours before, efforts at an even higher high tide from a tugboat and tow lines were unsuccessful. The Coast Guard believes the biggest difference is the passengers were evacuated, so that helped to lighten the load.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Well, of course, many of you are wondering, how did this happen? A lot of local mariners are very familiar with Calabogie Sound and that sandbar. We're told the area is clearly marked, but one experienced captain says there are variables that may have come into play here.
Yeah, they're channel markers for the entrance to Calabogie Sound.
Jim Givens knows a lot about charts, the river channel, and the ocean.
There's buoy number 1, number 3, and number 2. And so you'd cut in between those two going into this channel.
He owns Sea Tow Savannah, a service that assists boaters who get into trouble on the water, and he says it does happen a lot.
A lot of vessels go aground there. That is it is a shifting shoal area. It does shift over time, but the buoy is easy to see.
A longtime captain himself, he says the casino boat ran aground about here. This red, again, is a buoy?
Yes.
And that there are lit buoys clearly marking the area.
I don't know how he got in that position. I don't know if he was cruising real slow and the wind pushed him in that direction, which is very possible at night.
Still, he says it depends on the route the Escapade took.
Okay. So if he came ashore coming from the east, none of the buoys in these channels would have helped him. If he was staying outside of the commercial channel for the shipping channel, none of these buoys would have helped him.
The Escapade captain reportedly told passengers that chart plotters were not working. Givens says that's basically a map run by GPS.
So essentially that's what you use a chart plotter for when you're navigating a vessel. You use it as information. You still have to rely upon actual visual confirmation. Radar is the same as sight. It's real time. Your depth finder is real time. So you could use those as well. But you know, for years people navigated in and out of these channels without any of those electronics.
Well, Gibbons says as far as equipment on the ship not working, he would be surprised that a commercial vessel like that would not have working equipment, but says it can't happen. He believes the best thing to do is wait for results of the Coast Guard investigation.